Hello and welcome everyone. This is Nancy Ann Key coming to you live here in our Overcoming Overgiving for Women, for Inspired Women Over 40 Facebook group that we've just begun. This is week 2 and it has just been so gratifying in so many different ways. I just really appreciated everyone's willingness to participate, and I also have really appreciated people's willingness to simply read and listen. Hey Amanda, how are you? Thanks for joining me. Cool. Yeah, I really appreciate when people simply want to observe, because I'm an observer, totally. And so if you just kind of want to come and see like what this is like, chime in when you feel moved to. This is not about feeling any sort of sense of obligation or pressure. In fact, this group is about relieving pressure. So today is Wednesday. Today is the day that I come on at 11 a.m. Pacific time to check in, say hi, and unpack our weekly theme. You too, you like to observe too, right, Amanda? I mean, it's just part of our nature sometimes, and it's all good, and I totally invite that. So, yeah, so I want to unpack this theme for the week, which is your unique dance of yin and yang, i.e. feminine and masculine. Something that I know can be a very loaded topic, and those are kind of loaded words, and I wanted to acknowledge that and just explain that the reason I like to use those words is because they're so all-encompassing. And so for me, just so you can understand where I'm coming from, the feminine is allowing, flow, flexibility, faith, patience, and creative energy. Okay, so when I say feminine, it allows me to say all of that in one word from my perspective. And then masculine is more asserting, implementing, structure, activation, ambition, and sort of mind-based functions, which are also amazing and wonderful. But the word masculine allows me to encompass all of those. So if you would just allow me that, and I will allow you to be activated as well, or be, triggered in some way by those words, because that's also kind of my intention, is to get us thinking outside the box a little bit and rattling our own cages a bit. So I have so appreciated. Hi, Katrina. Oh, welcome to the group, and thank you for being here. And so today we unpack the theme, and I've so appreciated all of the interaction that there has been, and I've also introduced something that feels really good to me, and that is the option to simply say pondering. Like, I've read this, I'm either don't have the time or energy to answer right now, I kind of don't really know the answer yet, and I'm pondering it, whatever it is, for whatever reason. It lets me know that you've seen it, and I appreciate that. And so I think we can go ahead and dive in then. And so I've got this in front of me, and I'm just going to go through and help to hopefully illuminate some of this and bring more understanding and more thought provocation, if you will. So as women who feel a call to be of service in the world, how can we operate both in full faith in the natural unfolding of life and in the structured leadership that's required in order to create the impact that we desire, right? And so there's this idea of both and I don't know about you, but most of my life have not believed that it was okay to want both and. I thought I had to have either or, otherwise I was wanting too much. And it turns out that this both and idea is not only okay, but it's completely necessary, especially when it comes to the masculine and feminine, because we need to be able to live in both of those fields in order to feel at ease and satisfaction and joy in our lives. Because if we tip to one side or the other, there's going to be fallout of some sort. And in some spiritual circles, this is referred to as balancing the feminine and masculine energies that reside within each of us, while also understanding that each of us has her own complex of such qualities. In other words, it's not a 50-50 thing necessarily. In fact, it's usually not. And so, I'll just mention something, and that is that, right now in the world, we're seeing a re-emergence of the feminine, if you will. And it's because, there has been this tip toward, messaging that we ought to be more productive, more structured, more ambitious. And it's kind of tipped the world out of balance a little bit. And so now we're seeing that beautiful feminine coming back in to sort of rebalance things. And interestingly, if you can imagine the whole world, that's quite a complex of characteristics, right? Just like within us, it is a unique complex of the balancing of those energies. And so this is where it becomes imperative that we recognize and honor our unique designs, which requires a surrender of sorts to who we really are, our natural dispositions and inclinations, so that we don't contort ourselves into a shape that never feels right to us. I wonder how many of you have had the experience of contorting yourself into a shape that doesn't feel right to you. I know I have, and it's been a pattern of mine. Not intentionally, of course, but that's a big part of the reason why I'm here, is hoping that we can alleviate this as we go along here. And so, interestingly, it would seem as though it would be a given, right? That we would feel who we are, we know we're unique, we know what our inclinations are, and then we just live it out, right? But we all know very well that we have often received messages from both ourselves and others that we are not quite enough. We're not quite good enough as we are. And so we're actually trying to be something different than we are. Trying to be more, trying to be better. And this is not meant to take aim at anyone or anything, because, our ancestors, our mothers, our culture have all received the same messages. And so they've been passing on what they knew. And so there's no blame there. And so the point I want to make here is simply that this requires discernment on our parts. And discernment is, for me, it's very quiet work, and it's really weighing in with what feels true to me. And I will say that feels like kind of a feminine quality to me, that sort of quieting myself and allowing my discernment to arise. And discernment doesn't always come, in a moment. Sometimes it takes quite a while to really uncover our truths. And so, yes, and we're the only ones that actually know our truths. Let's see if I can get this to scroll a little bit for me so that we can come close to wrapping up here. So while we may ask for reflection from others, and that's important, right? That's what we get from our friends and our partners and our relationships. But we're the only ones who have the felt sense of what it is to be us. And nobody else can ever have that or experience that. And so then I went on and asked the question, with your uniqueness in mind, let us know which aspect of you, the feminine or the masculine, is asking for your attention right now. And so feel free to go back to the post and chime in, because I would love that. And feel free to say pondering. And feel free to just continue to consider this question if you care to. And so I believe that's it for now. I wanted to mention that in another few weeks, I'm really excited, I'm going to be well, I am in the process of creating something that I think can be really, really helpful to many, many women, just like me, just like you, on our paths of, discovering and honoring who we truly are and learning to give to ourselves first. And so you can be looking for that. And then I'm just looking at this last sentence that says, as always, there's no way you can get this wrong. There's no way you can get any of this wrong because it is your personal experience of life. So with that, I'm going to sign off unless anybody has questions. Does anybody want to ask a question? I'm happy to answer as best I can. Otherwise, I will see you in the group. I'm so glad you're here. Amanda and Patrina, thank you for joining me. I hope the rest of you will watch this replay, and I really hope that it's helpful. Thank you so much. Talk soon.